And we're live. Just had to figure out my stream key. I had the wrong stream key for a second. So we are better. We are good to go. Welcome, one and all, young and old, all these fun things, to our favorite show, which is the show where I talk about my life. No, just kidding. Although I could talk about my life. I have some crazy things going on. But that's not chess related. So, of course, we won't be discussing that. We're here to talk chess. And over the weekend, I played a tournament. It was a 5-round tournament, but I took a bye in the first round, so I played 4 games. And I did really well. I scored 3.5 out of 4, and as we'll see here, it should have been 4 out of 4, but I missed like 4 wins in one game. It was very, very bad. But I still got a draw against a much higher rated player. I would have scored 4 out of 4 if I had converted that position, but I didn't. Such is life. Sometimes chess is hard. And I'm here to share that with us this very day. So, I'm going to chill out, I'm going to relax, I'm going to crack open a beer, I'm going to wait for us to get some friends, and then we'll get started. I don't know if anyone drinks these. I have myself a nice Foster's here, and Foster's is like a truck of a beer. It doesn't look so big, but it's a truck. It's like fat. And it's $3. This is the deal beer. Anyway, but this stream proudly presented by Foster's. Let me open this. Why am I struggling so much? This is pathetic. I had to use a pencil to open this. Oh, it's not even working. Now it's just sad. Ah! What's going on? There we go. That was a struggle. Anyway, let's talk chess. So this was in round 3. I had scored two wins against 2 1900 players in the first 2 rounds. So I was on 2.5 out of 2. I took a bye in the first round. So I was on 2.5 out of 2, and I got paired with the top seed in the tournament. His name's Brandon Jacobson. And Brandon is a very strong FIDE master. He's 2375 FIDE, and he's currently the 36th ranked the 36th ranked under 16 player in the world. So he's a very strong junior player. And he got in a lot of trouble out of the opening this game. But he played well, and he outplayed me in the complications. I was winning multiple times, but I wasn't able to convert it. So let's take a look at what happened. I was white. I played d4 because I played d4 every game. And why would I change now? He played d5, which surprised me a little bit. He's the much higher rated player, so I would have expected him to go for something a little bit more dynamic. Both the King's Indian and the Nimzo Indian offer lots of dynamic possibilities for black, whereas this can be dry. And he probably doesn't want to draw if he's 300 points higher rated than me. So d4, d5, c4, c6. We have a Slav. Anyone who knows me knows I play knight c3, knight f6, and e3. This is my little pet move order. I've talked about this before, but I use this to prevent lines with dc4. Now note that I don't really prevent this because after the move knight c3, this move is already possible. Whereas that's not totally true after knight f3. Oh god. After knight f3, dc4 doesn't make a lot of sense. But here after knight c3, you can go dc4 because you have b5, b4 with tempo, and it's a position. But okay, he didn't go for that. I've never actually had an opponent play dc4 against me in this position, because no one wants to play that sort of slop. e3. And here he actually thought for a while, which makes me think he sometimes plays dc4 here. Like if I had gone knight f3, he probably would have done this. So he thought for a while. He told me after the game he was thinking about going bishop f5, which is a good move in this position. But he said this tends to be a little bit too drawish, and he didn't want to get a drawish position. So instead, he opted to go with this interesting move, a6. And the point of a6 is you want to play bishop f5, but not allow any queen b3 lines. So, for instance, I played knight f3, he played bishop f5, and now if I go in for these queen b3 lines, queen b3 can always be met with b5, which is the point of a6. You've added support to this this b5 square, and that sort of questions whether queen b3 was really a good move in this position or not. So that's the point of the move a6. Is it objectively the best move? Probably not, but it does keep some chances in the position for black. So bishop f5, and here I have a couple options. I can take on d5, but that's really, really drawish. There are some lines with knight h4, but I don't really know these lines super well. So like knight h4, you can go bishop g4, you can go queen c2, you can go f3 here, although f3 is a little weakening. But I didn't want to go for anything crazy. I just wanted a solid position, a solid normal position. And that's what I did. I said, okay, we'll just play solid normal chess. I like solid chess. Solid chess is best chess. So solid normal chess, we exchange bishops, e6, castles, bishop b4. This is a good move because white's strategic goal in this position is to play e4. And this sort of slows me down because, for instance, if I go e4 here, well, I will regret that one. Or actually, no, I just get forked, right? I lose a piece this way. So after e4, bishop c3, you probably have to enter some weird complications with like e5, but that's really not what I want from this position. I just want a normal position. I don't want to be entering crazy complications. So I just develop my pieces. Bishop d2. And here's the first moment where I think he started to play a little bit strangely. Let me ask the chat, what's a good move for black in this position? What should black play? It came... Yago, I'll quickly breeze through the game for you. Oh, sorry, did I say Yago? It was Yago. For some reason I thought it was something pretentious. It was a Slav, sort of a Chebanenko Slav. I don't know, is this the Chebanenko? I think it is, right? And I just traded the bishops. And castle, he played bishop b4. Castles is the best move. Castles is certainly the best move. Oh, sorry, after bishop d2. He should castle. Knight d7 loses. Whoopsie! That's part of what I set up. So, he can't go knight d7. The reason that this variation works is because with the knight on d7, all of a sudden the tactics suddenly work for me. He has to go knight takes, his bishop is hanging. So knight takes. I take here, The bishop is still hanging, so he has to take... And because of this poorly placed knight... Uh-oh. I'm winning a pawn. Very annoying. So, I think my opponent saw this variation. He saw this idea of playing knight takes d5, exposing this piece. So he played a5. But a5 is not as good as castles. After castles, I'm not threatening knight takes d5. If I do this, it's just a huge trade. After takes, I have to take the bishop now. Say knight takes and e takes. I'll play for a minority attack, but black's play on the king side will actually come quite quickly here. I think the position is pretty much equal. So he should castle, but okay, he played a5, a3. He takes because going back doesn't make any sense. Then he just, like, if you're going to go back, why is your bishop on b4, right? So takes. And again, he has a bit of an annoying conundrum here. If he castles, which is desirable, then I play b4. And all of a sudden, I'm just eating space on the queen side. So, my opponent played a4, which is probably the best move in the position. He can't really allow me to play b4 and just take miles of space on the queen side. But again, a4, he didn't really develop anything. He's got one piece developed. Everybody else is sitting back at home. So I'm actually up in development by 3 tempi. And I'm on move. If you're up in development 3 tempi and you're on move, black better have some compensation, right? I'm up 3 tempi, and I get to move again, so I'll actually be up 4 tempi after this move. I mean, depending on what I play. So, this is a standard middle game position. Black has queenside space, I have space in the center, I have a lead in development. What's a plan for white? What's an idea for white? So Archon's suggesting bishop b4. A bishop b4 was not what I played. I definitely considered it. It's probably pretty good for white. I don't think it's... I think it's a good move, bishop b4. I'll say that after bishop b4, the reason I didn't play this is black can go knight a6. And the bishop can't really maintain this diagonal. Now, the structure after a takes isn't ridiculous. Like, I'm going to be able to pressure this pawn quite a bit, but I didn't really want to give black this opportunity to develop the piece with tempo, ruin my structure a little bit. He can also take on c4, right? And then I have these sort of ugly isolated pawns. So this isn't exactly what I wanted. I think it's a good move. It just wasn't what I was aiming for in this position. So I didn't go a4. Or, sorry, I didn't go bishop e4. Yeah, I played knight d2. I want to go e4. Let's open the position, right? I'm way ahead in development. Let's open the position. Here he castles. The problem for him, well, if he doesn't castle, say he plays knight d7, now I'll go bishop b4. You can't go knight a6. So he has to castle. It's an only move. e4. And here my opponent really made a mistake. So black should take this. Black should 100% take this. And he'll go knight d7, put the knight on f6, win a tempo. I'll have more space in the center and I'll be slightly better, but my structure is a little wonky on the queen side because this pawn is permanently weak. So, yeah, white is a little better. But instead of taking, he played queen b6. Okay. And, what games am I reviewing today? I'm looking over 3 games from my past 2 tournaments. This was against the an FM rated 37 rated 2375 FIDE. He's the 36th best under 16 player, so a strong, strong junior. Queen b6. How does white continue? We're actually going to be doing guess the moves for quite a few moves in a row here, because I played super accurately. Well, I say that. I played super accurately, except for the 3 moves that I played terribly. So Archon has 2 candidates, e5 and ed5. This is a big moment because you're making a structural decision, right? Whenever you're thinking about changing the structure, that's an important moment. And you have to seriously consider, do I want to play this structure or do I want to play this structure? Or do I want to play this structure? This is another candidate that Mine Creek has recommended. That's something to consider. It's a capture. So here was my thinking. Black is undeveloped, right? Black still has poor development. And black is castled. So if I lock the center, I'm just going to murder him. And we'll see what happens in the game. e5 is really strong. And you're sort of immediately asked the question as black, what are you going to play here? Like, seriously, what do you even play here? You almost have to play knight d7, right? Because the knight on e8 is stupid beyond belief. It can't even go to d6, which is where I would want to go. And the knight coming out here is absolutely ridiculous. I'm just going to murder it. So knight d7 is semi-forced. But knight d7 has a huge problem. e5 is bad because of e takes c? No, so you're missing something here. After dc, I have knight c4 with a tempo on the queen, and you actually lose a piece here. So this is unplayable. So after e5, he has to go knight d7. And the big problem with this move is, what's that knight doing? It, like, can't move. It literally has to go something like this and play f6, maybe? I don't even know. So black is already seriously worse based on this one big inaccuracy of queen b6. So let's continue. e5. I've locked the center. It's time to go. What's our next move? I've locked the center. It's time for checkmate. f4. Let's go, baby. I don't know if you noticed, but black actually has a... Well, okay. No, I lied. f4 introduces a threat to the position that it also solves. Because f4 opens this diagonal, which means that this pawn is pinned, but f4 also supports this pawn. So f4 is working because he can't go this because the f pawn takes. This pawn is pinned now, but like f4, let's go, baby. And now my opponent made a second huge mistake. There's sort of an only move for black. What's the only move in this position for black? I shouldn't say an only move. There's like 2 reasonable moves for black in this position. D takes? Ooh, no D takes. If you go D takes, I'm like winning. F6 is questionable, I would say. And on F6, first off, I would be incredibly scared to play this as black. Secondly, I wonder... Oh no, I can't do that. Okay, but like, really F6? I don't believe you for a second. I wanted to go F5. I think that loses, though. Well, because after F5, he takes and I can't take here. But maybe it's still good. I mean, but here I can just like go rook A1, and I say you're weakening your king position? Really? I don't think you want to weaken your king position when the center's locked and I'm checkmating you. Knight e6 and c5 are the 2 moves for black here. He can develop this piece and pray to survive, or he can go c5. Now, c5 is not good, because c5, I take here and I go like knight f3, and I'm seriously better. But at least you have some scope for your pieces. You can go knight c6. So this is at least playable for black. But after black's next move, the position really becomes unplayable for him. Black went queen a6. And this is just a bad move. You didn't develop your knight. You didn't contest the center. Yeah, the plan is to go knight b6 and take this pawn. But I'm going to checkmate you. Like, you seriously think I'm going to let you give you this time? So, okay, what do we play? He played a bad move, queen a6. Yeah, then now the knight on b8 like legit can't move. F5! Of course! Let's go! Now you don't have time for knight b6. If you go knight b6, f6. How you like dem apples? I'm literally mating you. So, after f5, his next move is forced. He has to take. It's an only move, actually. And now let me ask you, how would you recapture on f5? It's ugly, but he can't allow f6. f6 wins the game. Yago says queen takes. Do we agree? Why queen takes? What's better about this than rook takes? So, I played rook takes f5, which is a huge mistake. Queen takes f5 is winning. The position is winning for white, based on the threat of e6. Here, black can't do anything. Like, make a move for black. I dare you. I dare you to find a move for black that isn't losing. It'll be hard, because there's not one. But you can try. Like, this is just unplayable. And even if I can't go e6 right away due to knight f6, I'll just prepare it. I'll go rook e1. I'll go bishop b4, because that's a threat as well. Like, you lose. And if you find a way to defend this, I'll go rook over. I'll go rover. And white just wins. So I think this is an instructive moment, at least for me, in my chess. I played rook takes f5 because that was like my plan when I originally played f5. And I didn't even really seriously look at this move. But you have to look at that move. It's a capture. And every capture has to be a candidate. So the fact that I didn't even look at queen takes f5, or at least not seriously, is ridiculous. It's a forcing capture. Why am I not looking at this? The threat of e6 is impossible to me. And it's not like I can't see this. I'm not capable of calculating this. I'm very easily capable of calculating that e6 is just crushing. It just never even entered my mind. Rook takes f5. Why? Why did I play this? Ridiculous. Here's the thing. Even if you don't see the e6 threat, there's other benefits to queen f5, such as you've unpinned this pawn, and you're supporting a rover, either on the 4th or the 3rd rank. I mean, the queen wants to be near the king. The rook doesn't really need to be near the king. The rook on f5 doesn't really like being on f5. The rook would rather be on f3 or even f1. The queen loves being up in the king's business. Now I'll go over here. I'm also pressuring this knight. Your knight can't move, even though it couldn't move anyway. But yeah, I mean, this is just winning. Black can't do anything. Yeah, c takes DC is not possible. Okay, but okay, rook f5. The first miss in this series of misses in this game. And now I played really accurately. I played like really well until I missed a win. So black realizes that he has problems because the knight can't move, and if you don't do anything, I'll go rook f1. I'll go queen over here somewhere, I'll put this rook over here somewhere, or I'll play e6, and you just lose. So black said, okay, I gotta do something. I'm gonna go c5. And c5 is a good move. It's the best move in the position. And the reason it's the best move in the position is when black plays c5, you want to take this pawn, because that'll give you a really healthy and strong structure as white. The only issue is you can't, because queens are good. So the move I want to play is actually unplayable in this position. So I have to find something else to play. What would you play as white here? My next 5 moves were super accurate. I was happy. I was really happy with this game until I missed the win. This is still... I would say this is still winning for white. The engine doesn't think so. The engine says +1-ish, but when you play it out, the engine starts to agree with me that it's winning. The engine doesn't agree with me at first, but when I play out my moves, the engine's like, oh yeah, you have a good point. So let's look at our suggestions. Queen f3. Okay, so you're freeing this whole shebang up to go like CD or something else D. But this is a little slow, right? I take. And when you take back, I go knight c6. And I think black is okay here. White is probably still better, but it's gotten messy. Black has gotten his pieces out, right? Here comes the knight. That was a dead piece. That was a really dead piece. And here it is coming to life. Rook AF1. I wonder if that runs into to similar themes. No, so the bishop will be protected this time. That's interesting. This might be a slightly better try, leaving, making sure the d4 square is protected. But even here, I want to take this piece off the board, right? Am I okay here? I might just be worse after this. Oh, no, the queen's still there. You can't do that. Yeah, this is okay for black, because you still can't play this move, annoyingly. And if you go queen d4, queen d4, queen d4, knight c6, queen d5, that's not pleasant for me. Queen d4 is a good move. Okay, rook af1. This might just be a good move. It's not what I played, but it might just be a good move. I wonder if I can grovel here with something like this. And like... Oh, sorry, I was playing queen d4, right? Takes... and queen e6. And I'll claim that I'm not lost here. Let me see what the engine says after rook af1. This is interesting. Sorry, I was just reading chat. Rook af1. Oh, okay. It says rook af1 is a pretty good move. Black goes knight c6. Oh yeah, you're still pinned. I just go knight c6. But white is still better here. White is still much better. What about queen f3? What's happening on queen f3? Yeah, queen f3 it doesn't like as much. It really doesn't like my cd4 line. Oh. Tactics. Yeah, that's a good move. But queen f3, it just goes knight c6. It'll play. It's gonna play. It's gonna take on here with the knight, maybe. No, now it takes. You can't go bishop b4. And this is a okay. This is very complex, but very complicated. But apparently, white is not even much better here. Is rook h5 a move? I just go g6. I don't care. Get out of my house. Yeah, and after g6 is a little bit annoying. Where's your rook going, right? No, my friends. Think about your pieces. Think about your pieces. You want to checkmate black. How are you going to checkmate black? Who needs to play in the checkmating attack? But you have an opportunity here. c5 has given you a big opportunity. In fact, the entire game has given you a big opportunity. The entire game leading up to this. What did black give up early in the game? Who can be murderous? Who can be powerful based on the game? Black gave up the dark square bishop. I have an unopposed dark square bishop. D-C5. Let's go. This is by far the best move in the position. And black struggles. Black struggles here. So black plays the best move, D-C4. He has to include this. Because otherwise, say he goes like knight c5, I just take. And here white is better. White's up a pawn, and he's still attacking. I mean, black has knight e6, but it's good for black, or it's good for white. It's just a pawn. So black throws in d-c4. Okay, what do we play? You want to play queen d6 here? Are you kidding me? You want to trade queens. In this position, you want to trade queens? Go checkmate. He's undeveloped. Murder him. No trade queens. We don't trade queens when we're murdering someone. I'm not even convinced this is so good for you. Say you, I don't know, what does white take with? White takes with the c pawn? I don't think this is as good for you, actually. g6. g6. b5. I don't think... I'm not convinced that white is better here. White might be better. White might be better here. This is a good move. Don't trade queens when you're better and you're mating. No trade queens. Oh god, is my fridge up? No, okay. Good. We want to mate him, right? Go mate him. Queen g3. I'm gonna mate you. Remember this guy? There's a reason I played dc5. And it wasn't because I didn't want to mate you. It's because I wanted to mate you. And it's gonna happen. Yeah, so and it's funny. The engine is spouting this bullshit. The first time I plug this in the engine, it's like knight c4, white's +1. And then I play queen g3 and it's like, oh, that's really good. And it goes up to like +1.5. And it goes up to +1.5 because it doesn't understand what's coming next. It's funny. Sometimes you can't trust the engine. Because the engine will prune variations early. And it actually misevaluates one of the positions coming up. It misevaluated both in the Lichess stockfish and the stockfish on my chess base. Both misevaluated this position coming up. So... let me ask, what would you play as black here? Because black has problems. And there's really only 2 tries for black here. But both of them will not be good enough. There's only 2 moves that black can even consider. Queen g6 you will regret because of rook g5. Yeah, queen e6 is a try. Queen e6 is certainly a try, trying to block the e-pawn from rolling. And there's one other try. I could tell you saw the rebuttal after you told me it was awful. Knight c6 loses immediately to e6. g6 loses to e6, actually. Probably. Yeah, knight c6, e6? What do you play? I'm threatening mate in 1. That's why queen g3 was such a good move. Because he's like, you gotta do something, or else I play e6 and checkmate. No, you're good, man. Sometimes you miss things. I miss stuff all the time. Yeah, knight f6 I take. Oh, you mean after e6? Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. Okay, so in the game, black played knight takes c5, which is the other try. And the engine does not like this move. The engine prefers queen e6, but the engine doesn't understand. The engine actually, I honestly think the engine has less understanding of this position than I did. Because the engine gives this as +2, and it plays some dumb move for white, and then it says white is much better. But then I give it the move I was planning in this position, and it thinks about it for a little bit, and then it's like, oh, white is winning. So what did I have planned against this continuation? What was my idea in this position? And it's a good idea. Because white is actually winning here, even though the engine doesn't quite get it. But white is winning. It gets it once it sees it. Once it sees the idea, it's like, oh, you're right, white is winning. But it takes it a little bit. Rook f6. What's the idea behind rook f6? And if I play knight takes? Yeah, so my idea was rook f6. And it's funny, because both of you guys were like, well, that's obviously the first move to check. But the engine doesn't understand that. And that shows how human intuition can actually still beat out engines. The engine doesn't think about rook f6. And rook f6 wins. The best move for black is actually to retreat, where white will just be winning. White will force e6 through. But that's clearly not critical. Clearly we have to check what happens when black takes. Okay, ef6, g6. Here there's 2 good moves, actually. You can go rook e1 here, which wins. But I think more human is to go queen g5. And there's... Yeah, rook e1's a good move. Don't get me wrong. Rook e1's a very, very good move. But queen g5 sort of asks black, hey, black, How are you going to defend this? And black has two tribes here. Let's look at the first try. This was the one I first considered. Knight d7. What will white play here after knight d7? Queen f4? I'm sorry, when are we playing queen f4? Knight e4, hanging the knight? Well, knight e4 might work, actually, now that I look at it. Hold on, I have to think about this. This might work. This was not my idea. It might work, though. Let me see. Okay, I'm a sucker. I'll take it. That's problematic. That's certainly problematic. That looks good. That looks really good. That wasn't what I had planned. I think knight e4 works. Rook f1 does win, but it's actually not super accurate after rook e8. Black is threatening this, which is a little bit annoying. So rook f1 is actually not the most accurate thing in the world here. After knight d7, I had something else planned. Rook f1 instead of queen g5? That's a little slow. That's not necessary. The pawn wasn't threatened yet. So I'll show you the move I had planned. It's a really good move. You say, oh, you attacked my pawn? Okay. You want to take it? Take it, my friend. See how that works out for you. And the answer is not well. It doesn't work out well. The point is, after knight f6, now I'll go rook f1. Oh, you took my pawn? Oh, okay. You might regret that. And I'm just going to regain the material and mate you. And so queen h6 is really strong there. Oh, queen f4 instead of queen g5. Let me look. It probably wins. There's likely multiple winning continuations. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good to me. Granted, I'm a patzer, but it looks good to me. So the other try is after rook f6. This is the more serious try. g6, queen g5. Black can go rook e8. And this is a more annoying try. Because black is threatening this check, trading queens, which would actually be winning for black. So what should white play here? J-Power, that's actually a really good question. But yeah, there's a mating attack with the knight. The problem with king h1 is that he still goes queen e3, right? And now you're not getting in. So the best move is indeed bishop d4. Just saying, no queen. Yeah, queen e1 doesn't hurt because you're not getting back ranked just yet. Oh, no! After king h1, yeah, queen e1 hurts. That's better. That's better than my refutation. Unpleasant. Although, ooh. Now I'm confused. No, you just take this and you lose. White loses. You almost confused me. But queen e1 wins for black. That would be very sad. So yeah, after this, just bishop d4. Black kind of has to go knight d7. And here, just rook f1. And I'm saying, stop me from doing this. I dare you. It turns out it's pretty hard to stop. AKA, you have to give up lots of material. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think of that. The king g1 back. I thought you couldn't protect the knight. But what Sheppy is saying is queen a1. You actually have king g1 back. And it's hard to get the queen back in time. I wonder if you can, actually. It might be simply impossible to return the queen. I can go king h8 here, though. And maybe I'm okay with the idea of putting the rook on g8. It's an interesting position, but I think I have a feeling black is actually winning here. I might be wrong. But the problem is white has no rook to sacrifice. White has no rook to lift and sacrifice after the queen sacrifice on h7, which would be winning. Okay, so let's get back to the game. Black played knight c5 instead of this queen e6 move. So how should white continue? There's a lot of sort of desirable looking attacking moves. Of course, e6. My entire play has been based around making this bishop a monster. D takes c5, queen g3, e6. Get everything out of the way of this bishop so that I can just checkmate you. That's all I want this game. And that's the problem with knight c5, is you give me time to just throw the pawn away. I don't want the pawn. I want your king. Let's go. Knight e6, only move. Now, Sheppy suggested rook f6, which I seriously considered, but it's actually not good. So who can defend for black? Who's got a good defense for black? g6 is not a good defense. Don't play g6. I mean, g6 is a defense. There's just a better defense for black. In fact, black is not even worse, really, in this position. King h8 gets you mated instantly. Rook e6. Rook e6 is the threat here, by the way. Knight d4, I take it. It's a piece. Knight d4, bishop takes, and the rook is untouchable. That's just a piece. You either have to defend the knight, or you gotta defend g7. Those are your choices. Because otherwise I'm smashing you with rook e6. So there's a very good defense for black here that I saw, and black is not even worse here. In fact, if white is not careful, he'll end up in a worse ending. This is tricky. Yes, Sheppy, very good. Queen b6 check, queen c7. And this is a really annoying move. First off, the queen is defending along the 7th, so if rook e6, f takes, I'm guarding g7. Secondly, I want to trade queens. And so if rook e6, I'll take your queen. And you're not mating me without a queen. So the queen on c7 is doing a lot. And now white has to sort of waste some time moving the queen, but then knight d... Oh, not that one. Knight d7's coming. And black is already doing very well. Black is probably even better here. What's the end say? Well, the end says 0, so okay. The end says it's all the same. Bishop e5, queen d7, or queen e7. I just moved the queen along the 7th rank. So instead of rook f6, believe me, I seriously consider rook f6. It was the first move I tried to make work. I really wanted it to work. I played even better. What's a better move than rook f6? Rook a5. Oh yeah, queen b6 and you lose. Horribly, actually. So bishop g7 was interesting. I seriously looked at this. Because this looks appealing. But I didn't see much in this position. Like, I saw this position in my head and I'm like, I don't really see how to proceed. It's certainly something to calculate, especially when you see these sort of pinning ideas. But I just don't see the win in this position. So I played a la Morphy. He's playing. Let's go. He wasn't playing. Now he's playing. Knight f6 is serious business. You let me play knight f6, h5, you're in trouble. That's not going to be pretty for you. So you can't let that happen. Knight e4 is a very good move. It's a huge threat. His next move is absolutely forced. Knight d7. He has to cover this. Okay, keep going. He covered the threat. What now? King h1? Don't be so slow. Very good, Archon. He's playing. He's not playing. Rook d1. Develop. That's a threat. And here's what's really, really problematic about this. You can't defend that knight. For instance, rook d8. Uh-oh. You lost a piece based on the pin. And white wins in this position. So rook d1 is a really nice move. It comes with tempo, and it's very, very hard to meet. However, my opponent is a young, strong player, which means he's tricky. That's really what it means. When you're facing young, strong people, they're tricky. So who can find a tricky defense for black here? Black has a tricky defense. Queen c6. What's so tricky about that, Cheppy? Queen c6 was played. Why does Queen c6 lose? So Queen c6, Rook d7, Queen e4 is the point. So, don't get me wrong. Queen c6 loses. But he confused me enough that I played bad. There's a winning move in this position for white that I never even considered. Who's got a win for white in their pocket? I never even thought about it. Sheppy, you're too fast. Give them a chance. And Rook d6 wins. I never thought about this move. I was so focused on this knight hanging and this knight hanging that it never occurred to me that this rook could go anywhere on the file other than d7. Rook d6 is monstrous because you have two threats. You're threatening to take the queen, and taking on e6 wins the game on the spot. And it especially wins the game if you take the queen, or if you take the knight, because now Rook e6 comes with tempo, and you're fucked. So Rook d6 just wins. There is no defense. And it never even occurred to me. So this is just a totally missed win. And this is something that I struggle with somewhat. And that's I sort of limit my candidates more than I should. So clearly this has to be a candidate. Other captures, I mean, I can consider stuff like this. That's a capture, of course. But it's checks, captures, threats, right? What's the biggest threat you can make? You can threaten checkmate, or you can threaten the queen. So, okay, let's get there, arrow. How is this not a candidate of mine? It threatens the queen. And as soon as I expand my candidates, it's like, oh, that wins. It's not even a hard calculation. It just wins. If I had ever even looked at this move, I don't have to calculate anything. It just wins. So, I'm disappointed. If queen b1 check, I have rook e1 in that line. So rook d6, queen e4, queen b4, rook e1, your queen is hit, mate is hit, you can resign. Very unfortunate. So, I need to expand my candidates. Long story short. I played a move that's bad because I wasn't really thinking straight. I played rook on f to d5. And my point was, okay, if he defends his knight, then I take this, and he has to recapture. If he takes here, I take twice on e8, and then I checkmate you. So he's forced to play this, and then I win a piece. Great! I win a piece in every variation. But this is based on a faulty assumption. And my faulty assumption was he has to protect the knight. He doesn't have to protect the knight. The knight on e4 is still hanging. So rook d7 is actually not really a threat in this position, because rook d7 will be met with queen e4. So that's some faulty analysis from me here that prompted me to play rook fd5. And as soon as my opponent played his next move, I was like, oh yeah, that's true. And then here I played a second large mistake in a row. What should white play in this position? This is going to be the last puzzle of the game. What should white play? Because this is the last chance for white to have an advantage. White is still winning. It's not as clear-cut as before. It's like +2 instead of +3. Or sorry, +6. But it's +2 is still winning. So in the game, I played knight d6, which is a mistake. And my idea was to go knight d6 to f5. But we'll see in the game, black sort of neutralizes the threats, knight e5, and suddenly black has put a ton of stuff on this diagonal. So the best move here is to take. You have to look at those captures. And of course, black's point is queen e4. But what does white have here? Sheppy, I'll look at that queen d6 line in just a second. Queen takes e4. Oh, Archon put it in chat. I didn't see it. Rook e1. And white's not winning material immediately, but there's massive pressure here. Queen c6 is forced. Rook d6. You're winning a piece unless black gives this check, so you have to check. Now the knight has to go somewhere. Knight g5 loses to h4 because the knight is trapped. So on knight c7, I just go rook d7, and I have total domination of the position. It's not a forced win of material, but white is like so much positionally better here, it's disgusting. Actually, it might be a forced win of material. Like, how do you defend this and the knight? I'm not even sure. Oh, you go rook f7. Yeah, but you're in trouble here. I can take this. Your king's coming out. I don't know. Is this a problem, right? Oh yeah, this is a problem, right? Yeah, rook e7, and you're losing the knight. So that actually is a forced win of material, based on just being positionally sound. So rook takes d7 wins. Sheppy suggested queen d6. Why is this winning material? Maybe I'm dumb. I'm probably dumb. I don't see how this is winning for white. Or I don't see how white is picking up material in this position. Maybe bishop e4, but then I take the knight, right? Oh, is my knight trapped? No, I'm fine. I think this is okay. I don't see how I've lost material here. Okay, so I'll quickly run through the rest of the game. It's not very interesting. Knight e5. I took it. I sort of have to, because otherwise knight d3 is unpleasant. Black played knight f4. Here I played a bad move, but it's interesting. But interesting is not always good. I played knight f5. And knight f5 is interesting, right? My rook is hanging, but it's in the air. So what would you play as black here? Oh, I missed the Sheppy. I missed the strike at f8. You're right. Black might lose a little bit of material there. Yeah, the best move is rook f5, which I didn't really see here. And we'll see that there's really quite a point behind this. Because what my opponent played is much worse. He's actually better in this ending after rook f5. Rook a e8. Rook a e8, I take your knight, and you're not happy about it. So, yeah, I mean, my opponent played queen b6, probably under the assumption that this is a threat, right? But after, I'll show you the game continuation, and I'll show you why white is fine. Queen b6, king h1, he takes here. Otherwise, the knight is hanging, things are hanging, g7 is hanging, so taking the knight is sensible. Knight d5 and queen d5 check. And all of a sudden, your king is forced to the corner. And I actually regained my pawn here through a cute little tactic. Queen c4, queen b2, queen a4. You have back rank issues all of a sudden. So that was the game. But if you take immediately, the same variation doesn't work. And the reason is the queen is still on this square. So after queen d5, rook d5 is not advisable. Rook d5 can be met with just queen b6 check and queen b2. And black is probably winning. And so you have to go queen d5, but now the queens are off, and white doesn't get his pawn back. Oh, sorry, wrong variation. So black doesn't get his pawn back. It's not clear that black is winning, but he can press me in this ending. He can press me for a while. In the ending we got in the game, after this, black can't press me. This is just dead drawn. And there's nothing he can do about it. So, yeah, we played on... I didn't even put it in my notation. We played like 15 more moves because he's 350 points higher rated than me and he doesn't want to draw. But it doesn't matter what he wants. This is just a draw. After queen f2, h3, we played on. It's just a draw. So that was this game. I missed quite a few wins just by not considering candidates. And obvious candidates, too. Threats, captures. These candidates that I'm not considering have to be on your candidates list. So that's a huge lesson to take away from this game. Consider every threat, every capture. I wasn't in time pressure. It's not like I had like 2 minutes on my clock. I was playing these mistakes when I had like 20 minutes on my clock. My USCF, actually after this tournament, is 2160. I went up like 40 points because I had really good results. All right, let's take a look at my next game. By notations I mean I didn't put it in Lichess. I took notations in the game, but I didn't put it in Lichess. My second game, I had black, so I'll flip the board around, against, oh no, not that. Against Joshua Colas. And Joshua Colas, I think I've seen in actually IM Norm tournaments. I think he gets invited to those, like, you know, like St. Louis IM Norm tournaments. He's a very good player. And we both did some suspicious things, but this was an interesting game. He played d4, knight f6, knight f3. And here I played e6, which I will not be repeating in the future, because I sort of got move ordered in the opening in a very annoying way. If I get this position again, I will go d5. And that's what I normally do. I just went e6 because I figured it didn't matter. But it does matter. So this is good, a good test of your knowledge. What can white play here to sort of take a little advantage of this e6 move? So white can go c4. But after c4, I have like a normal Queen's Gambit declined, right? So I think that's not really abusing this move order too much. Yes. He can play bishop f4. And the reason this move order is a little bit annoying is because I no longer have queen b6 lines, which is what you want to play against the knight on f3 setups. So, for instance, after d5, if bishop f4, I get the queen b6 line. And here black is doing well. So, this is what I would want. Yeah, I have the b6 lines. But against knight f3, I don't want the b6. I want that queen b6. So when he played bishop f4, I was sort of like, yeah, you can do that. I was a little annoyed. And I was annoyed with myself for having played this move e6. Which is not exactly what I wanted here. And we get the b6 line, actually. Or do you mean b6 immediately, or no? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, but I want to go d5 there. So I went c5, and I played super solid main lines. Knight c6, c3, d5. And this is an old classical attempt. Knight d2, bishop d6, bishop g3, castles. Does anyone know what the best move for white is here? c5, e3, queen b6? No, you can't go queen b6 anymore. Yeah, I've never had this played against me. Everyone and their mother goes bishop d3. But the best move by far here for white is bishop b5. And this is so annoying. This is like a really annoying move. You should know this if you play the London. If black plays this setup, you just go bishop b5. And it, like, black has problems. Because black almost always goes b6, bishop b7. But good luck playing b6 here. It's not going to happen. So black has to do something really awkward, like knight e7. And then the knight's not where it wants to be. It's on e7. I mean, you can even just go back, or you can castle here. But I think you should go back. And you can argue that, okay, my bishop's on its best square. Is your knight on its best square? Probably not. So this is an annoying concession to have to make as the black player. You shouldn't... Oh, Yago, you don't like playing the London? I love playing against the London. But okay, my opponent went bishop d3, which is not the best move. b6. Does anyone know what the best try is considered for white here? After the bishop d3 line? There's two tries in the London that I consider dangerous. One is this 8 bishop b5. But after b6, there is another try that I actually consider very dangerous for white. e4 is never played here. e4 is the idea, but white actually prepares. Yeah, the most dangerous try here is to go queen e2. And this is the second time I faced this. And it's not pleasant for black. It's never pleasant. White will always have sort of a slight initiative. And the idea is to go e4. Yeah, white shouldn't castle here. After white castles, black is really quite alright. Say castles, bishop b7. Black has a really simple idea. He goes knight e7, He puts the knight on f5, he puts this knight on e4, and black can claim that his knights are monsters. And black is doing well here. So white really needs to play to disrupt this idea, and queen e2 with the idea of e4 is disruptive to this idea. For example, if I go knight e7, e4, that's a problem. Or sorry, not knight e7. If I go bishop b7, so bishop b7 is what I played in the game. White can go e4. It's okay. But Joshua played the main move here, which is rook d1. Just further preparing, eyeing this queen. If the center opens up somehow, I'll go e4. The center's going to be in tension, and white is doing okay there. Oh, you're thinking of that Kamsky game, right, Sheppy? I know what you're talking about. There's some Kamsky game where he just throws bishop h7 out of nowhere. It doesn't even look like it's vaguely possible. Okay, so rook d1. I had never faced this move. The only time I faced this before, my opponent went e4 right away. Rook d1 is probably better. It's being a little bit cagey. It's sort of asking black, "Hey, black, what are you gonna do here? How are you gonna improve your position?" I improved my rook. I improved my a rook. What are you going to do here? So, I played a move that's not in the database. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's, I don't know. I played rook c8, which is probably fine. It makes sense. The c file is probably going to open. I'll take at some point. The most common move here is rook e8, which I thought about, but at some point I'm going to play bishop e7, and I was like, okay, these pieces are sort of interfering with each other, but clearing out this f8 square is very nice. We'll actually see in the game, there was a lot of times I wished I had my rook on e8. But rook c8 is probably a fine move. The c file will open if cd... No, so chess engine, white is planning on playing e4. That's the idea behind this queen e2 line. So if he doesn't play e4, he can't claim to be better. So this rook will be well placed on the c file. And here it comes, e4. So let me ask, what should you play as black here? This is a critical position. White just broke the center. How should we continue? So chess engine, I'm not planning on taking on d4 until white plays e4. So the first time I faced this move, I took, which is actually disastrous. White gets a massive initiative here after takes. Well, I mean, you can even go queen takes here. So this is not what you want. So after e4, I learned my lesson from that first game. I went bishop e7. It's the best move. My opponent quickly played e5. And here's sort of the point of this line for black. Black goes knight h5. And black says, yes, white, you have space in the center, but I'll win the bishop pair. And here, it's very important white plays correctly. What does white have to play? If white doesn't play this, he's probably worse. Castles, no, you're not seeing the threat. Think about what black wants here. Black wants something. Bishop takes h7 is interesting. But it doesn't work because I control the g5 square, right? So your knight g5 check will never land. What does black want here? Black actually has like a positional threat. Black can't play. White's gonna play bishop a6. White's gonna trade this bishop for this bishop. If white played bishop a6, I would cry tears of joy. I would be so happy as black that my literally most of this game is me trying to think, how can I make this bishop on b7 not the most useless piece in the game? It's true, I won't have the bishop pair, but I also won't have the most useless piece in the game. What does black want here? Bishop e1 is a good move. And bishop e1 sees the idea for black. It's good. White played another version, or another idea of bishop e1. White played a3. You have to see what black's threatening here. I'm going to take. Oh god, it's not my move. If you say you castle, I'm going to take. Well, actually, if you castle, I'm going to take on g3. Because you castle and your rook's not on h1 anymore. But you can't allow takes and knight b4. That's what I want. And that's a common theme in the French, is this sort of takes knight b4 idea. So white says, no knight b4. No knight b4. So bishop b1 also sidesteps this threat by getting the bishop out of the tempo. And then white can play something like... Can't go rook c1. Maybe bishop b1 doesn't work. Hold on, 1 second. Bishop b1 takes... I guess you have to go knight takes here, is the point. But if you play knight takes, I don't know. Okay, so he goes a3. And here, I'm not a huge fan of my move. I think I was working a little bit on autopilot here. I took on d4. There are two better moves, probably. I can go g6, which blunts the bishop and stabilizes the knight out here. That's a good move. And I can also play this move a5. And the idea behind a5 is maybe I'll go like c4, b5, b4. Or maybe I'll go rook a8, queen c8, bishop a6. I sort of have a couple ideas here with this a5 move. But instead I took, and white sort of immediately took back knight d4, and I'm like, oh, my knight's hanging. And I made a second mistake in a row. I played g6. It's not a good move. I should take here. I should take and then go g6. The point is, I really want the c file to open. I really, really want the c file to open. And if you're not going to give me the open c file, I don't really have any play. So playing knight d4 here it's an important little in-between move so that the c file can open up. And I'll have some play on the queen side. But okay. There we go. We're back. I don't know what happened. Maybe I hit like OBS refresh or something. But we should be back online, back and ready to attack. Is it not going? We're still playing. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. So, Chess engine user had this question. What's my knight doing on h5? The knight will always take this bishop. It can't escape. The knight will always take this bishop. I don't want to take it right now, because I don't want to open the h file, but your bishop's not going anywhere. g6 is not dubious. It's actually an only move. Like, after knight cd4, the only move in this position is g6. You can't play anything else. And the reason g6 isn't dubious is you can say my dark squares are weak, but again, this bishop isn't going to stay on the board. So after this trade, I'm going to have a dark square bishop and you won't, which means I should be okay on my dark squares. But okay, I would have traded on d4. But if I had this position again, I would trade on d4. But now knight to f3, and I played a5, which is dubious, I would say. I think I just don't need this move because I no longer have this plan of going c4. So a5. But if you take on g3 and play h6, you weaken the light squares, and that's much worse. Weakening the light squares is much worse than weakening the dark squares. If you go f4 in that position, instead of knight 1, f3, hold on, let me go back to that position. f4, I had something against this. Well, so first off, I was going to take, and I just don't see your threat, really. Like, you're not threatening to go f5. And you're not threatening to go bishop f2, because f4 is hanging, right? So, I actually have a little bit of time here to work with. I don't know, maybe I just develop the queen, right? Well, yeah, I developed the queen. And you're not really threatening anything right at this moment. If you ever castle, then I'll take the bishop, and I'll be okay. So, okay, knight d4, g6, knight 2, f3, a5, probably not the best move. But the cagey thing about a5 is I'm sort of asking my opponent, what do you plan on doing here? And it's not the easiest question to answer. Yeah, f5 hangs e6. So that's an interesting question that I'm asking the white player. What move are you going to play here? If you castle, I'll take. And now you don't have that H line, right? So this a5 move, I'm just sort of feeling out why. What do you plan here? What's your idea? And he came up with a certainly fine idea, which is h4. And he said, here's my plan. I'll mate you. And now I was a little bit worried because I thought white might be threatening to go bishop h2 and g4. And then he's sort of steamrolling through with h5. So I felt a little bit obligated to take this bishop at this point. I don't want that bishop to stay on the board. Maybe I don't have to. It's possible that this is an unnecessary trade. But because the bishop on h2 is really very bad. But I thought, I don't want this g4 coming and being problematic. So I took here. And now I took on d4. And I think my opponent made a mistake here. How would you recapture on d4? Of course with the knight. If you take with the pawn, all of a sudden I actually get some play on the c-file. I start to have ambitions. If you take with the knight, I don't really have ambitions here. Maybe I can go bishop c5 and take the knight, but then I really will have weaknesses on the dark squares. So knight takes was very good. He had c takes, which is not as good. And now you need a plan as black. Because if you don't have a plan, you get mated. Like, White has been very clear with his intentions. I'm going to go h5, I'm going to take, and I'm going to put a lot of things on the h file, and I'm going to mate you. So, what's the plan for black? What do we do? If black goes h5? So, I seriously considered this move. Black going h5. But I sort of rejected this on principle. And the reason I rejected this on principle is I was really, really worried about a g4 break here. In fact, I think White can possibly play... Well, maybe White can't go g4 right away, but White will simply sit back and prepare g4. And as soon as g4 lands on the board, Black's kingside structure is really falling apart. So I wanted to try and not give White any more targets to chip away at on the king side. I didn't like this idea of being broken down with g4. h5 is maybe okay concretely, like maybe the engine defends this, I don't know. But it didn't seem appealing to me as a human being who can't calculate 20 moves into the future. So, rook c7. Rook c7 is very slow, right? In fact, I think bad things start happening to you immediately. Like h5. And pretty soon I'll just put all my peaches on the h file, and I don't really see what you're doing about it. I have this simple plan of takes, and I'll go queen d2, h6. And it doesn't look pretty. So like rook c7, h5. Okay, say you go queen c8. You want to invade on the file, right? I'm not going to take yet. I'm not going to let you open the 7th rank, right? I'll go queen somewhere. Let's go. Does that work? So this queen c8 has actually done something that I didn't think of so much. You did prepare a bishop h6. This is really complex. It might not be so bad. I didn't really think about this bishop h6 idea. That's interesting. Because if you don't have this, I think you're just getting mated. Queen d2 also covers the c1 square. Or queen e3 maybe, I don't know. But I mean, bishop a6, I don't want to trade, so I'll drop back. But now, I don't really see how black continues here. The white king is quite weak, but I think white is sort of mating. I don't really see exactly how you play. Bishop h6, h takes. No. Here, here I have f takes. And my point is the rook covers the 7th. That's why I didn't want to take on g6 too early, because there's always this idea of f takes and the rook swinging through the 7th. That's a key defensive idea. You can always go f takes. Rook e8 is too slow in all variations. If you want to go rook e8 here, it's just too slow. I just take. And you're too slow. Like, it's a good idea to have, but it's always too slow. Also, whenever you go bishop f8, I have knight g5. It's not so clear. So, okay. Rook c7, I think it's a little slow for black. Okay, instead of queen c8, fine. Rook c7, h5. You want to go rook e8 here? That's fine. Take, take. I'll go queen e3. You want to go bishop f8? I'll go knight g5. You have problems here. h7's hanging. It's actually not hanging. Hold on. But, I mean, even long term, this piece isn't playing. I might actually be able to take this with some bishop g6. I might have bishop g6. I don't know. I don't want to allow this knight here. It looks really unpleasant. Maybe I pressure the f file now that your rook's not on the f file. I don't like this position for black at all. If you start with queen h6, you get kicked away. If you go, rook c7, h5, queen, rook e8. I don't know what line this is. If you start with this maneuver, there's just bishop. I mean, it's still knight g5. It's still good. But anyway, I'll show what I played. I think it's the best move in the position. I'm worried about all my pieces. He's okay. He's okay. These other three pieces aren't so happy. But I'm really worried about this guy. He's not playing at all. So bishop c6. Let's get him playing. He needs to play. Knight g5, bishop h6, rook takes h6. It's just not working. You gotta believe me. White is mating there. So I improved this piece. And I have some threats associated with this. I want to get this piece over here to mess with you. I might also want to bring the piece back to defend the light squares. Queen d2, white says, I want to checkmate you. This idea of going h5, bring the queen to h6. Oh god. Skip to the end of the game. What could go wrong? Queen d2 and bishop a4. That was my idea. And if you trade rooks, I'm quite happy because I'll actually win a tempo on the c line. So my opponent... Oh my god! Stop that. I think that's the down arrow that's doing it. So rook b1. And now black has to play accurately. Because if you don't play accurately, you're getting mated. So, what can black do to not get mated? You have to find a way to not be mated in this position. Because if you don't do anything, you just get mated. And you're very sad. I'm proud of the move I played here. It's maybe an only move to not get mated. Queen d7, I have a feeling, is getting mated. h5? Ah, you had this idea. Huh. It's a good move. I wonder... I wonder what you do here. Because after this same idea, you're just losing. And so, okay, I'm not going to go h5. I'll just go queen h6, and that sort of wins a tempo, right? Now, knight g5 is a problem. Yeah, you can go f5, but then you spent a tempo going f5, right? So I sort of won a tempo against you. I go h5. Aren't you getting mated here? This has to be problematic for you. g5, that's a pawn. g5 is a pawn. Rook f7, I win g6, you lose. So, yeah, g5, I win a pawn. I don't know about these variations. These seem a little sketchy. I don't like these queen d7 variations. Someone said h5, excuse me. I never like these h5 moves. Like, I can't do this? Oh, I let you in. Let me not let you in here. Okay, let me do this. You go back. I don't know, e8, d7? d7 looks maybe a little better. I come in. I'm threatening g4, h5. That's the thing. This h5 move, I always go g4 and I crack you open. You want to go rook e8 here? Okay, rook e8 is legal. Did you count on this one? H5 weakened this point. I'm threatening mate. You have to take. Now you're in trouble. Now you're in trouble. Knight g5. I think you're losing. I think you're literally just mated. Okay, that's mate. Stop me. You can't stop me. I'm just mating. And so this doesn't work, right? White just wins. I don't think you can go h5. Now, none of that was forced, but the idea is white has serious threats. So, back in this position, I played the best move, which is f5. And the important difference between this and h5 is f5 strengthens this diagonal, whereas h5 weakens this diagonal. And that's the key difference. I'm gaining some operating space for my pieces here. And he can no longer mate me, because I have opened the 7th rank to defend h7. And there's no bishop sacrifice anymore. So, f5 I'm pretty sure is the best move to secure the king side. He takes. If he doesn't take, he doesn't have anything. He has to take on f5, or on f6. He has to take on Bassan. Because if he continues sort of the same way, then, I mean, I don't even have to let this happen. And I've got this guarded enough times. I'll go h6. This point is solid. You can't sack on it. And you just don't have any attack anymore. And if you don't even have an attack, you have a lot of weaknesses. Your king's a little weak. So that's very sketchy. He has to take it. I take back. h5. White says, I'll go mate you. What should we play as black? I played some good moves here. I was happy with this game. g5 is interesting. g5 I seriously thought about. But g5 is a little bit of a different story without this pawn on f5 because it's a little scary. It might still be okay, but all of a sudden you have to worry about a lot of different weaknesses. So say I go like queen e3, maybe now I'm hitting this guy, I'm sort of asking you if you want to mess with this guy a little bit. It's not so clear. There's a lot of weak pawns here. So I played, I think it's a better move. I'm not sure for certain. Queen c7 is the best move. And the threat is to take, and this is really a threat. You can't mess around with this. If you take here, this is a problem. You actually have to trade queens here. Queen f2 is an only move. Just to show, if you go king f1, rook f3 is coming, you're lost. You are super, super lost in this position. So, after queen c7, you either have to allow the trade of queens here, or you have to defend the g3 pawn. And my opponent, who's higher rated than me, he's playing for a win. So he goes rook h3. And now I didn't play the best move by the computer, but I played a really sensible move. And so let me ask, what would you play as black? Keep going. He defended our threat. What do we do now? I should point out that the queen on c7 actually does a very good job. She's threatening the c file, she's threatening the 7th rank, she's threatening g3. Look at all those arrows. She must be doing a good job. So bishop c2, you will regret. And you actually lose the piece. Bishop c2 is playing active. You want to play active, but it's not supported tactically. Bishop d7, that's not really where you want the bishop, right? E6 isn't attacked. I'm gonna like go mate you, right? So I played bishop e8 to support my g6 point. And Blazing Banana Chess is saying gh5. That is the best move. But I think this move is also very sensible. gh5 is the best move by the engine. It's a very good move. But I wanted just a little bit more solidity here. And queen e3. So white is coming for me. What do we play as black? How can queen c7 be too slow when it wins a tempo? It's by definition the fastest move. So, in this position, I found the best move, which is quite strong. And it's maybe surprising if you don't fully grasp the position. And the best move has been said, it's gh5. gh5 is a really strong move. And it's a little bit surprising, right? Because you're opening up your own king, you're hanging e6 with check. Like, what is going on here? But the point is, e6 is not takeable. And the reason e6 is not takeable is the white king never castled. So if you take on e6, you're begging to get mated. You are absolutely begging to get mated. For instance, after takes, I was planning to go king g7. I don't want to trade into the ending. And if you go bishop f7, you drop the bishop on f6. So king g7. And here, I mean, if white accepts the second pawn, Everything's coming to play. I don't even know what you do. Queen c4, right? Trade queens. No, no, no. Your king. Your king is in too much trouble. And I mean, black is down a pawn, but black has such massive compensation to get the white king that black should be winning in this position. Yeah, GH5 I played. After queen e3, I played GH5. And the point is you can't take this. So my opponent played the best move, which is g4. My opponent agreed with me. He's like, okay, I can't take e6. I agree. And here I didn't play the best move, but I played a very solid move. I played bishop g6. The engine gives this move king h8. I don't really understand why king h8 is good in this position, but I understand why bishop g6 is good in this position. Bishop g6 makes a lot of sense to me. And so bishop g6 is a good move. I want to trade these light square bishops off. The e8 bishop was terrible. This bishop is amazing. Let's trade, right? He sort of has to trade. He can't take here because after takes, he just doesn't have an attack anymore, and I can go queen c2 immediately and just get a better ending. And so takes, takes, takes. Okay. How does black continue? Queen g7 after g4. That's interesting. The idea is to come in on g2, but I have I do have another idea. As weird as it looks, white can go g5 here, and with the queen on g7, the bishop has to go to a bad diagonal. But I think bishop g6 is just very sensible, trading off the bad bishop. So let's get back to this position. How does black continue? Queen c2. Queen c2. Anyone else? Everyone agrees queen c2. Good move. King g7. Well, but on king g7 you can't take e6, right? Because of a rook, either rook to e8 with pinning. That's the problem. That's why I allowed e6 to hang. On king g7, rook c1, I take it, right? So, yeah, on king g7, I think hg6 will be played. And the threat is queen h6, right? So that's a little shaky. I played queen c2. It's the best move. And you can't ignore this threat. But I'm a tricky little man. It's a double attack. So white played knight d2. And this seems to sort of solve the problems. But this is actually not the best move. The best move is rook d1. And the reason is g2 is not takeable. Can someone tell me why queen takes g2 is a mistake? Queen g2 is a mistake. After rook d1, queen g2 is a mistake. Queen g2, knight e5. I didn't even consider this, but it might be annoying. Knight e5. No. I have rook f1 mate. I take it. Rook f1 mate. That's cute. I didn't even see that. So yeah, queen g2. Don't give me rook f1 mate. Knight h4. I take it again. It's rook f1 mate. This is perpetual. And the reason it's perpetual is this rook hangs. So you can never play rook f7. Check. And the black king has an issue. You can't go rook f... Oh, God. You can't go rook f7. Because I'm grabbing. But you can't step on the h-file. Because of takes. So you sort of have to go king g8. But then I go back. And it's perpetual. And black is clearly better in this position. Or, sorry, in the position before queen e6. Here, black is better. Black's queen is all up in your grill, your king's in the middle. So black can do much better than a perpetual here. Black is pressing. Black has no need to be worried. So after rook d1, queen g2 is not a threat. Now, granted, it's hard to see this. Or it's hard to realize this. Knight d2 is a very natural move here. But after knight d2, white is just worse. Like, white is simply much worse. So you have to find a way to try and bail out. And queen g2 is a bailout, allowing the perpetual. So, instead of this, my opponent did play the mistake knight d2. But this allows me to consolidate my position. I go queen f5. And this is just a good move. I'm guarding e6. And everything is solid. I'm going to play rook c2 if you let me. My rook will enter. I mean, perhaps even the other rook will swing around to the c-file. And your king is suddenly in massive trouble. Also, I have ideas. Oh, I actually have a really strong threat in this position. What am I threatening? I forgot about this, but black has a really strong threat that must be addressed. Bishop g5 is a strong threat. What's so threatening about bishop g5? Bishop h4 check doesn't work in this... Oh. Yeah, so the issue with bishop g5 is you're threatening to take the knight with tempo. And the problem is, when you take the knight, all of a sudden you're hitting the rook. So say white does something ridiculous, you lose. Really a lot. Because the queen moves anywhere. Let's say e2. Take. And take. And I've won a rook. I like rooks. I mean, I might also be mating here. I don't know, is this good? Oh, that one's a queen. I like queens as well. So, I mean, black just has threats. So after queen f5, my opponent played a very sensible move. Rook f3. And here I played an okay move. The best move is a move I never even considered. And I don't know why. It was some chess blindness of mine, the best move for black is queen g4. Just maintaining contact with the e6 pawn. But for some reason, I was convinced that the queen can only stay on the 5th rank. The fact that the queen could go to g4 never occurred to me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Who knows? But this queen g4 move, it would never even showed up in my candidates, which is ridiculous. Because I don't want to trade queens, and I want to protect my e6 pawn. So queen g4 is just a really good move. Also, I throw a punch, right? Queen g2 is a threat. So queen g4 makes a lot of sense, but somehow I didn't manage to come up with queen g4 as a candidate. I played something a little bit interesting. We talked about it. I played bishop g5. And this forces the trade of queens. The queens must come off. Chess books for beginners. Chess books for beginners. It's a good question. Logical Chess, Move by Move. It's by Erning Chernev. Logical Chess Move by Move is a great book for beginners because he lays out a lot of the basics in a way that's easy to understand, and it's sort of repetitive. Like, he goes over every single move. E4. It's a good move because he controls the center. I like Logical Chess Move by Move. I think that's a good book. A lot of people hate on that book. I think it's a really good book for beginners and like early intermediate players. Also, a good tactics book. You can get Predator at the Chessboard. It's the Saruman book. I don't have a good tactics book to recommend, but find yourself a nice tactics book. Chess Engine User. The queen trade does favor me, but not trading queens favors me even more. So after queen g4, white is sort of lost. Like, this is coming, maybe this is coming. I don't even know what you play here. Rook g3 gets pinned. You basically lose. So instead of that, I play bishop g5, which trades queens, which is still good for black, but not as good. I'm going to hurry through the rest of the game because the rest of the game wasn't so interesting. He took on f5. Rook e5 is playable, but he still gets a bad position. Here he has to take. That's check, and I'm up a pawn. It's probably a little bit better than the game position, but not so much. He took on f8. King takes. I like having the c file. And here he played king e2. The problem is after knight f3, the king is cut. And if you don't have a king, it's hard to play an endgame. So this is just very, very good for black. Black should be winning. So he took, and king e2. He has to play that move. But now he goes down a pawn. And I have connected passed pawns in the center, which means black is winning here. So we'll quickly rush through this. Don't give my bishop away for free. He's not letting me in on c2. That's fine. I'll take a pawn. He trades the minors. That's fine. The rook ending should still be winning. We maneuver a lot. I don't hang any pawns. That's really the key. Don't hang your pawns. I played b5 here because I was a little worried about rook b3, so just b5. Okay, I went to the end because why not? Check. Rook up. I protect the pawn. He goes over there. I push my pawn because I like pushing pawns in the ending. I protect my pawn. I don't allow side checks forever. I'm going to go take this pawn. I'm going to go take that pawn. I'm going to go take that pawn. I took that pawn. we trade pawns, and I'm winning because I have 2 collected pass pawns. And here I didn't put the rest of the moves in. I won this endgame in like 10 moves. Very good. We'll look at one last game. This was my game versus a national master. His name is Majur. Majur's a funny guy. I really like Majur. Majur, I like talking to him and I like analyzing with him, because he's African. He's legit from Africa, and he has this like deep African accent, and he just says things in the funniest way. He always says that he plays giveaway chess. He just likes to give away all his pieces. And then, whenever he talks about pins, he says he talks about glue. So he's like, if he pins a piece, he says, "I put the glue on the piece." A very strange guy. I love this guy. Majur's my man. So I was playing Majur, and he played some giveaway chess here. We had a good game of giveaway chess. I had black against Majur. And he played e3 here. I didn't recognize what was happening here. What does 2e3 signify? What is white aiming for with 2e3? I mean, he could be aiming for just like a position, right? But especially if you know that Majur plays giveaway chess. What is 2e3 going for? Yeah. He wants the stonewall attack, where he goes f4, knight e5, other knight, bishop d3, g4, h4, queen h5, rook h3, and he goes checkmate. And I didn't really realize that's what this e3 meant. But he's going to play the stonewall attack. So d5, bishop d3. Already, I'm going to checkmate you. c5, c3, knight c6. And here he makes a big move order mistake. He needs to go f4. But he played knight d2. And I lost my chance. What does black go here? Black has a huge opportunity here. Black can go e5. I don't know why I didn't do this. I think I was playing on autopilot. And I didn't realize that my opponent had made a move order mistake. He needs to go 4f4. And 4f4 clamps down. But on 4f4, all of a sudden the bishop gets outside the pawn chain, right? So, I mean, this is just not a good opening, but okay. And he goes knight d2, and I have this opportunity to go e5, and I didn't do it. And I'm an idiot. I should have gone e5. I went e6, which is just a terrible move. Because all of a sudden his stonewall attack is actually reasonable. Because my bishop is trapped inside the pawn chain. If I can trade these bishops, the stonewall attack is stupid. But because I played e6, I'm not trading these bishops anytime soon, which means the stonewall attack actually makes quite a bit of sense here. Which is ridiculous, because he shouldn't have gotten this much out of the opening. It was poor play from me, playing e6, not recognizing my opponent's options in the opening. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. I need to use the restroom. You can ponder this wonderful position on the board. I know it's very interesting. A lot to analyze right here. I'm back with this fascinating position. Yeah, no, he told me he was going to play solo no matter what. Not no matter what, but this is major. So f4, bishop d6, knight gf3. Oh yeah, this is cute. What would you play here as black? This is actually an important moment, and I caught it here. Here I was actually paying attention, and I caught an opportunity here. Knight d7. Knight d7, you're not running into like queen h4 stuff? Queen h4, queen h5 stuff? Like, oh, what am I even saying? This is probably playable. This is probably playable. I mean, maybe I just go knight e5 anyway, and I just argue that taking here isn't so much for you. I think black has a better try here. Knight g4, huh? No, this can't be. I go knight e5. Ooh. No, I don't go knight e5. Do I go knight e5? So I'm looking at this variation. Knight e5, knight e3, queen h5. No, you can take here. Oh, okay, okay. Knight g4, huh? Maybe knight g4 is just a good move. I don't know. I guess I go queen e2. Yeah, I'll go queen e2 and I'll go h3, and I'm not exactly sure why the knight is out on g4. And so here I think it's an important move to throw in. Castles isn't taking full advantage of the opportunity given. I played cd4. It's important to notice these structural moments. And my point is, white cannot play ed4. And that's always beneficial to black. White would love to play ed4, extend this bishop, open the e file, but he can't. The f4 pawn hangs. So cd4 is kind of alert here, saying, oh no, I'm going to open the c file. I'm going to give my pieces on the scope on the queen side. cd4. And now I'll castle. Now that I've opened up this c file, I've taken advantage of this moment. Now I'll castle. So, castle and b6. Getting ready to send my bishop to greener pastures. And already, I had an interesting idea in mind. And my opponent played a very poor move. But it's Majur. What did you expect? He played g4. What would you play as black? What are the ratings? I'm 2160 and my opponent's a national master. And that's USCF, that's not online. So knight g4, there's Greek gifts in the air, right? What should black play? Should black play knight g4? Maybe it's still good. Aha! There are active possibilities on the other side of the board. Knight b4. Very annoying. A very annoying move. The knight is very strong on b4. I'm throwing a punch at the bishop, and I'm preparing another idea. Bishop b1. What did my knight b4 idea prepare? I had an idea here. What did this knight b4 prepare? Bishop a6. And all of a sudden, this bishop who sort of got screwed over in the opening, all of a sudden he's a wonderful piece. And if you move the rook, let's say rook e1, I can suddenly drop this bishop in the middle of your camp. Very annoying for you, this bishop on d3. Maybe I don't even have to do that. Maybe now I can take this, because your Greek gift shouldn't be working now that I can get on this diagonal. Maybe I can also play knight d3. Yeah, that looks really annoying as well. So this is not at all what white is going for. And I told you Majur plays giveaway chess. And Majur is happy to give away his pieces. Majur is very happy to give away his pieces, as long as he's checkmating you. So Majur played g5. He said, you want my exchange? Take it. Have my exchange. I'm happy for you. And I said, I'm happy for me too. I mean, if I don't take the exchange, what am I doing with my life, right? I just spent all these tempi getting this bishop out here. I might as well win the material. And knight d7, the knight drops back. a3, a little bit annoying. I wanted, if I had some time, I would have played rook c8 and threatened knight c2. But he doesn't give me time to do that. I have to go back. And queen h3. Okay, g6 is forced. Knight f1. And here I think I didn't play very well. I had a hard time coming up with a plan for black. So, who can come up with a better plan than me? It's lost, but it's funny. It's not easy for black to play. Like, it's not easy for black to come up with ideas. Or at least, I'll say it wasn't easy for me. Maybe it's much easier for you. Maybe you understand this position better than I do. But I had a hard time coming up with, like, things to do for white. Or for black. What can black do here? Chess Engine user, he won this game. White won. I did not win this game. Granted, it's because I'm an idiot, but white did win. So, rook c8. Yeah, I did blunder. I blundered quite big. Rook c8, I'm sure it's a fine move. Rook c8, he'll bring the knight to g3. And it's a little bit tricky because you start to notice annoying little ideas, or at least I was noticing these annoying little ideas. Ideas like knight h5, and all of a sudden there's mates showing up on h7, and it's just like, so if you go knight a5, I mean, can I do it already? Knight h5? Okay. I have to do something about this bishop first. So, let's defend my bishop. I'll defend my pieces. Do you have knight b3 coming? Yeah, this looks pretty good. I'm not getting my mate fast enough because the knight b3 is coming. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Rook c8. Okay, maybe I don't go knight g3. Maybe I start here. Maybe I start here. I'm so annoyed by that knight a5 move. I just want to get rid of that. Yeah, if you go knight a5, I'll take it and go knight g3, h5. Like, white has play here. He's down in exchange, but it's not the clearest position in the world. Also, my rooks aren't really doing much. I know you don't have to take on h5, but if you don't take on h5, I'm always hanging this threat of knight f6 over your head that you have to be worried about. I mean, I think this is a perfectly good way to play. Yeah, rook c8 looks fine. I played knight e7. I don't know if it's a good move or not, to be honest. I had a hard time coming up with an idea. The engine comes up with a really good idea here, which I wish I had come up with. The engine's idea is to open up the queen side. It wants to go b5, b4, which is really good. If I can open up the queen side, all of a sudden these rooks will be useful, and I'll be able to hopefully penetrate on the b and c files. But I played knight e7 with the idea of putting the knight on f5. It's a good square. Knight g3. I played rook c8. I win a tempo on the bishop. Bishop d3. And again, I had a hard time coming up with like things to do here for black. And I was especially worried, like I wanted to play knight f5. But I slightly miscalculated this. I thought this lost by force, actually. I was very worried. And I was worried by a specific variation. I thought takes, and knight h4. And the point is that knight takes f5 is a problem. But I didn't quite calculate correctly here. So who can not get mated? Who can find a good way to not get mated in this position? And that's the thing. Every move I sort of have to calculate. How am I not getting mated? f6 is one way to not get mated. There's also another way. f6 is quite sharp. f6 was actually not really on my radar. It's a good move, but it's very, very sharp, sort of opening up these avenues for rook f7 or queen f7. Queen e7, excuse me. I think the more natural way, at least to me, to not get mated, let's go rook e8. And the point is, if you sack here, it doesn't quite work because now I have knight f8 defending the mating square. But I didn't see this rook e8, and I didn't see this f6 move, so I was very worried about playing knight f5. I thought I might lose. So instead I play knight b8. My point behind knight b8 is this knight is trash. So let's get him to do something. Bishop d2, knight c6, that was my point. And here my opponent blundered. He played e4. What would you play as black? How should black continue? Love me some Pringles. DE4, as played in the game, a fine move, but not best. And so the game continued DE4, knight e4, knight d5. You have to guard f6. And that's... black is still much better. But black has a stronger continuation. And it has been suggested the best continuation is knight takes d4. I never even thought of this. Of course I did think of it. It's a capture. And the point is, you can't take this knight. You can't take this knight. It's not possible. What's the problem? Bishop c5, bishop e3, retro. With tempo, I win 2 tempos with this move, and I win the piece back, and 2 pawns. Only 1 pawn. But now black is like really winning. Also, white king is in danger. So, this wins quite convincingly for black. Totally missed this. After e4, I was like, okay, I'll take it and go knight d5. Never even thought to look at knight d4, which is a failing of my part. Look at those captures, right? d4, knight e4, knight d5. Bishop c4. Okay, he's starting to take and go knight f6, so I went bishop e7. Knight f6 is always mate, by the way, so you can't allow that. And now my opponent played bishop a2. And the whole point behind this bishop a2 move is he was worried about knight takes d4 with tempo. And again, it's not exactly clear how black should proceed. What would you play as black here? b5, b4. Never forget the engine. I don't know. It's probably still good. I don't really see how white's proceeding. Yeah, I think b5, b4 would be fine. It's clearly not the most incisive continuation, however. We always want to look for these incisive continuations. F5 is interesting. Okay, white has to take, right? I mean, are you not worried about knight g5 here? Oh, you hung. Anyway. But knight g5 as well. But I mean, it's a pawn. It's a piece, actually. It's unplayable, yeah. You can't play f5 here. So, I'll give you the best continuation, which I briefly thought about, and then I miscalculated both lines. The best move is knight d4. And I actually did consider this, but both lines I miscalculated. So, white has to take, or else I just win a pawn. And my point, or I thought my point, was that knight f4 is good, but there's two lines you have to calculate. So, first off, I saw bishop f4, queen d4, queen e3, and I saw this position and I said, okay, white has two pieces for a rook, I'm up 2 pawns, maybe equal-ish. Why was I dead wrong about this position? And I really was dead wrong about this position. I thought this was about equal. Yeah, queen b2 is a problem. Queen b2 and white's in a little bit of trouble here. Because everything's hanging. Really, the only thing you can do is go queen e1. But all of a sudden, disaster. I have 3 pawns and a rook for 2 pieces, and I might be mating you. And so, this is bad. This is really bad. So I missed this queen b2 move at the end of the line. It's a very good move. The other line you have to consider is after takes, white doesn't have to take this knight. He's already up material. He can go queen e3. How does black continue here? Because black is down material now. He has to prove something. Bishop takes g5. Yeah, queen d4. Queen d4 wins. And I actually saw that. Oh, not that one. Sorry. I actually saw this. And at the end of the line, I miscounted. I thought it was 2 pieces for the rook. But if you look, it's not 2 pieces for the rook. It's an exchange for black. Black's up an exchange. So I miscalculated the first line, and I miscounted the second line, which made me not play this. When knight d4 just works. And queen d4 is a nice trick. I saw the trick queen d4, I just miscounted the resulting position. This fork is very strong. The king is too weak. So, I didn't do that. I played knight a5, which is worse. And he went rook d1, which isn't a good move. And I played knight c4, which is the point. Takes. Knight e5. Here I played bad. I went rook c7 when I should obviously go rook c2 because rooks belong on the 7th rank, and we all know that. So rook c7 is not a good move. Queen h6, queen e8. And so the idea behind queen e8 is a couple ideas. I'm supporting these 2 points, so I'm preparing to go f6 or f5. Because if I go like f6 right away, all of a sudden this lands, and it's not so pretty. It's at least a perpetual, if not more. So I prepare this with queen e8, and now white goes bishop b4. And this is critical, because white is offering to exchange some pieces. How would you continue as black? I am a math teacher, which makes it even more sad that I counted incorrectly. Chess Engine is asking, pawn wasn't free? Pawn wasn't so free. Knight c6 is a little bit unpleasant. And the engine comes up with some brilliant line here. But I'm not playing it over the board. The engine plays bishop c5, which is ridiculous. And I don't fault myself for missing that. And yeah, black is winning, but I'm not even gonna touch this when I can just go rook c2 and be positionally winning without having to do any tactics. So rook c7. How do we continue? Take what? Take the bishop? With what piece? You have 2 pieces that can take a bishop. That's true, you can't take anything else. So what do you want to take with? So, in the game, I played knight takes b4. And this is a little bit sad. And I saw immediately the error of my ways after playing this move. And I saw it before he even moved. I was like, oh, I fucked up. And after his next move, I just resigned instantly. Instant resigns. I saw it coming. I knew it was coming. And this was sad. It happens the same way as well. Bishop takes b4, resigns. And this is part of the reason why I'm not a master yet. It's because I do dumb shit like this. I can't explain it. I mean, I can say that, like, I had seen that taking on b4 gets me mated. So I started looking at f6. And after f6, I didn't really like the positions I was getting. After, like, takes, and even just this move. Putting pressure on f6. I mean, but you don't have to do that. Like, something like takes, and knight g5. I was like, wow, white is really good knights. I don't really like my position here. So I saw this position. I was like, I don't like this position. And then I went back to this line, and I was like, oh, if I take the bishop, I avoid bishop e7. So then I snap the bishop, and I forgot about my earlier calculation. And I don't know what the lesson is here. I can just tell you that's what happened. But like, remember what you thought of, I guess. Remember your earlier calculations. Because this is not hard to see. It's a check. It's a check. Most of the things I'm missing are, like, obvious moves. How do you miss this? Check. Yikes. So, this was a bad miss by me, which lost me the game on the spot. The best move is, in fact, f5, where after takes, now you take here, and all of a sudden, black is doing fine. I also misevaluated the other position. This is fine for black. Black should be winning here as well. I mean, rook c2 is coming. So yeah, not good play from me. I'm a little bit annoyed with how I played, but it happens, and hopefully I'll do better next time. And that's the plan, right? Anyway, that's all I have for today. I had these 3 games. I've been on for about 3 hours, so I'm probably going to head off. I gotta make some dinner, get ready for tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll be back this weekend with some Chess League TV content, some stuff from the league. That's the plan anyway. So until then, I hope you enjoy your weeks, and I will hopefully see you all on the weekend. Adios, muchachos.